Hello and thank you for choosing Techie Website Hosting. In this quick tutorial, we're going to take a look at how to set up our email accounts, configure an email client, and access Webmail. So let's get into it. First of all, go to the Techie homepage and click the login button, or you can go directly to the link by typing it in. You can see on the bottom left-hand corner when I hover over the login button, it shows you the URL, my.techie.io. Alright, let's log in. I'm going to be logging into a demo account that we use for tutorial videos. And this should be familiar now. This is your customer portal area or client area. And we're going to select services because we're going to be going into the settings for email in the cPanel. So let's go into the cPanel. To get to the cPanel, under your services, your standard web hosting package, you're going to click somewhere next to it in the space, and then it'll give you the summary page for that hosting package. And on the left, we're going to log into cPanel by clicking this automatic login link or button. Okay, we're going to type in email to find the email settings quickly, and then we're going to go down to email accounts. And we've got 4 email accounts. The standard one that's automatically created when you register a domain name, and it gets attached to your hosting account, and that gets automatically created in the software you may choose to use it. Most people don't. I don't use it. And then there's these other test emails that I've set up. We've got a total of 5 email accounts that we can use on the standard package, so we can see we've got 2 left. So now let's create a new email. We'll go through the whole process. So we'll create a new email by going to the right here and clicking the create button. If you have multiple domain names on your account, you can select which domain or subdomain that you want your email account associated with. So we'll just use the primary domain, and we will put in here demo email. Actually, let's do email demo. I prefer that. And we will generate a password. You can type in your own here, that's fine, right? And we can have a look and see what I typed. But the generate button or using a password manager should give you a higher grade password that's more secure. So we're going to click the generate button, and now we're showing you what it looks like, because once this demo is complete, I'm going to be deleting the email account. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to save it off screen, because we're going to be needing this in a moment when we configure our email client. The other options we have on here, I will just leave as is. We can select our storage space. We've got a maximum of 1 gig for our email accounts, and each email account does share your overall disk quota. We recommend for high-grade business use that you purchase a business-grade email from us, and I will show you where to find the information on that in your documentation. The other thing that we is in our terms of service is you can't use your email for email marketing, because what happens is that they very quickly get flagged as spam, and that affects your overall hosting package, because the the IP address can get and will get flagged in databases as being spam, and it will be blacklisted, and then your emails will stop going through to your important clients and customers and people that you send them out to. So if you're going to be doing email marketing, please contact us through support and ask us for assistance. We'll give you free advice and give you some options and recommendations. And of course, if you'd like us to set that up for you, we can certainly do it. So let's continue. We'll click the create button, and now we have our new email account, this one here, email demo at demosite101.com. So how do we access this email, and how do we set up our local email clients? So there's 2 ways to access your email. There's Webmail, and that's accessible from your cPanel with a 1-click login. There's also a quicker way to access Webmail, which I'll show you in a minute. And you can also connect your devices by looking at your login credentials that you will put in your email client, whether that's on a desktop, laptop, or mobile device. So first of all, we'll just do the one-click login, and we'll see what our webmail looks like. So you get a greeting page like this, and you've got a choice of 2 different webmail software platforms. These are open source. They come bundled in with pretty much every hosting company. So you got Roundcube and Horde. I would say just go with a Roundcube. It's been upgraded recently and looks and works very nice. Now, before we go through to our email inbox and folders, we can see there's other things going on this page. So we've got access to basic spam filtering settings, configuration settings, email filters, autoresponders. Now, a quick word. In the past, I used to set up for web projects and many clients autoresponders. So if you've got a contact form on your website and me as a potential customer sends you a message, the autoresponder setting will send me a reply right away saying, "Thank you, we received your message, and we're reviewing it, and we'll get back to you." And that's nice and professional. Now, the problem today is if you use an autoresponder, whether it's set up in the email itself or from within your website settings, a new contact form, such as the common ones used in WordPress, then malware attacks and bots will submit form data. And this goes on all the time. As soon as a website is launched, there's public information about that website. And if you set up autoresponders today, most likely what will happen is within a few weeks, your IP address for your website will be blacklisted and your emails will stop getting delivered to a lot of people. And that's because the malware attacks are constant online now, everywhere. And what they do is a lot of those are very, well, they're shady to begin with, but they have just horrible practices. So if they get an autoresponder, their email client will often flag that as spam, because those systems automate. They're not used by people. It's just software sending out the malware attacks and the emails and everything else. And it doesn't want its inbox and everything cluttered. So they mark incoming mail as spam completely. So what that does to you is you think it's a potential customer, or your software does. It sends a nice thank you, we received your email auto reply, and then the malware bot flags you as spam and puts you in databases blacklisting your whole IP account. So if you're going to be wanting autoresponders, please contact support, and we'll show you how to do it the professional way using relatively cheap add-ons, whether that's a newsletter service or a contact form service or a business-grade email that is separate from techie hosting using a different set of IP addresses. Those are dedicated email, business-grade and enterprise email servers. Okay, that took a while to go through. One other thing that's important is you can see here on the right, on the top, there is a downloadable file, and you can have that emailed to a mobile device. So if you're an Apple user, whether you have an iPad, an iPhone or an iPad, or you're an Android and other mobile device user, then you can select which platform you're on, put in your email that you can access on your mobile device, and the system will email you a configuration file. And then from your mobile device, you'll tap on that file within your email, and it'll automatically configure and add this this email here, this one that we just created, email demo, and it will configure it within your mobile device, so you don't have to do anything manually in settings. Now, of course, as a techie, I always recommend you learn how to do things the manual way, because usually things work better when you take the correct steps. Okay, so now we're going to go into our email, and you can see it looks like any email client. You've got a list of folders on the left. This is the list of emails. We haven't received any yet. And this is the preview window on the right. You can change your settings for how everything displays. So you've got lots of personal preferences here. One thing I always do is I do allow remote images for anything that I've already viewed and okayed. So I'm just going to save that. And the other thing I do is I like to see the email address with the display name, and that gives me a visual, because you can get used to quickly spotting spam by the email address names themselves. So we'll save that. Now we'll go back into the mailbox and we'll click on this email here. And what the system does, every time you create a new email, it sends you an email to this new email address immediately with your login and configuration credentials. So that is a very useful email to keep, because it stays in your inbox, and then if you're not sure later on, weeks or months from now, you're going to add your email to another mobile device and you've forgotten the process, you can find the information right here. Now this information is the same as we'll look at in a minute in the cPanel settings page. Okay, so this is your webmail view. Like I said, you've got settings. You can go to the back to the home page here, where you've got an option to use a different web email client, and you've got some other settings options that you can utilize. Okay, so that's really nice. Now, let's say you haven't checked that email. Let's say you're not sure how to access it yet, and you just want to set things up on a mobile device. So your credentials are always in your cPanel under the email accounts section, and if you find the email address that you want to add, so this is the one that we're adding, email demo that we just created, we'll go over to the right and you can see there's a button called Connect Devices. So let's click Connect Devices, and you can see there's some information here. Now there's two primary protocols for receiving email and two primary ways to configure an email client. Now the old way, going back before we had security protocols, is without any SSL or privacy protection. We don't use this anymore, and no one should, because it's not secure. So we only recommend using the configuration information that's in this blue recommended box, because that is protected with a certain level of encryption and SSL TLS certificates. So the username is your full email address. The password is the one that we generated earlier, and the incoming server is mail.yourdomainname, and the outgoing mail server is mail.yourdomainname. So that's the same for both. Now, within these settings, you've got two primary protocols for receiving. You've got what's called IMAP, and you've got POP3. Now, I do recommend using IMAP. IMAP creates a complete mirror image on the server of any folder you create in your local client, and any email that's read, it will all be reflected. You delete or move an email on your local client, it'll have it matched on the server. So it'll look the same in your webmail, whatever folder structure you have, whatever's been read out of your emails, what's not been read, what's flagged and not flagged, and so on, should match from the webmail to your local email client to a mobile client. Now with POP3 is a bit different. POP has a history of leaving things on the server, and then when you access it from one client, it downloads them. So POP is useful if people use one primary machine and they're always meeting their quota with large file attachments. Then this will help with that problem, because once you reach quota in an email account, it prevents you, and this isn't a techie hosting thing, this is just an industry standard, then you're not able to send or receive emails until that has been resolved by deleting unwanted messages that are filling up the space. Now with IMAP is the way to go. I highly recommend only using IMAP. However, it does require some maintenance, because if you reach your email quota, let's say we fill up 1 whole gig of emails with attachments and whatnot, then we meet our quota and we can't send or receive. So you're going to have to go through and do maintenance to either archive or download or delete the unwanted messages to free up space. Okay, with the outgoing server, it's just standard. There's just one protocol, SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. Now, you can also see as a secondary step for later on, when adding these credentials to an email client, you can see that there's port numbers. Now, when going through, all clients today will just automatically associate the port number with the SSL settings that you're choosing. And you can see in the non-secure version, there's different port numbers. Okay, so that is important to be aware of. So now, what do we do with this information to set up our email client? Well, whether you're doing this on an Apple Mac, whether you're using open source software like Mozilla Thunderbird, or you're using Microsoft Outlook or Mac Mail, they're all relatively similar, but each client has its own quirks. Same with like an Apple iPhone or an Android device. But somewhere within those settings, you're going to see a place to put in the username, the password, the incoming server data information, and the outgoing server information. And in a lot of them, they'll require the same username and password for each one of these for sending, for receiving and sending. So now we're going to configure Apple Mail. So here's Apple Mail. There's no mail account configured in it right now. So I'm going to, there's always multiple ways to do anything on a computer. So we're going to go up to the top menu here, and we're going to go to Mail. You can go to Accounts or Add Account. So the easiest thing is we'll just click Add Account. And it's not an Exchange or Yahoo or AOL, so it's Other Mail Account. It's the last one on the list for Apple. Click Continue. And now we'll put in some of our credentials. So for name, this is Demo Test Email, or whatever your name is. You would put that in here so that when a colleague receives your email, they know who it's from. So now we'll put in our username, which is our email account or email address, and then we'll put in our password that we generated earlier, and we'll sign in. Now, it's unable to verify username or password because it's possibly making some assumptions based upon our email address as to what the username is. Because for some email servers, you might not need the whole domain name. Maybe you just need the initial part. But we need the whole email address. So we're going to put this in here, make sure that it's using the correct information. We're going to make sure we're on IMAP, not POP. Incoming mail server, we will grab from here, mail.demosite101.com, or whatever your domain name is. And remember, it's the same for the outgoing server as well. So we'll put that in the outgoing mail server, mail.yourdomainname. And then we'll try signing in. So it accepted that. And now with Mac Mail, it didn't give me any options to to make sure that we were using the secure SSL settings. It just didn't give me the option. So what we assume is that as this is new software, that it's actually doing the most secure options for us. Do we want notes with this? No, I don't personally, so we'll just have the mail. And then once it creates this account, we'll go in and we'll verify the settings. And as we can see, it's connected to the email server right away. We can go to mailboxes, and there's no other folders really set up. There's send and junk, and we can verify what folders are set up here. So there's the standard folders: draft, sent, junk, trash, archive, and if we created another folder, whether it was in our email client or in our webmail, it would reflect in both. Okay, so let's we'll add another folder here. So we'll call it business, for business emails, and of course it's empty. But if we go to our webmail, which is still logged in, and we refresh, we should see it come up. Maybe we have to go to the log out and back into the mailbox view, and then we can see our folder business, right? So that's again the nice thing. So of using IMAP is everything's mirrored. So let's copy. Let's see if we can copy this this email to the other folder. So copy it to that folder, and now if we go back to that business folder, we've got a copy of that email in it. And if we go back to our email client, instantly before we even click, you can see now we've got a copy of that email in that folder. So there we are. That's how you set up an email client. Again, how this is where you access your email, your webmail, starting from your customer portal. So again, if you go to your customer portal and you're in your client area, click on services, you select your hosting package, click the cPanel login link, scroll down to email accounts, and then you look for the email that you want to log into for Webmail, and you just click the instant login Webmail button, and you write into your email box. Now notice there's a little setting there. Let's say I don't want to see this page. If I don't want to see this page anymore, then it'll open my inbox when I log in. So now if I close this down and I go back to the cPanel, didn't mean to close it, and then I select my email accounts and the options, and I go find the email I want to log into, click it once. Now it logs me right into my inbox. Okay, and of course I can always go back to that Webmail home screen. There we go, and I can unselect that if I don't want it there any longer. Now there has to be a quicker way to log into your Webmail. Well, there is. Okay, so the quicker way is if you go to the knowledge base, which is under support. It's under support once you're logged in. These menus look a little different when you're not. So you go to the knowledge base, and under documentation, the documentation category, you'll see standard website hosting. Now, as different hosting packages get deployed, we'll have different documentation, additional documentation added here. So if we click on this, we get a little summary about what's included and the different topic headings. These are all links that go directly through to that support page. But if you want to view the whole, well, all of these go to the whole document, but they go to the anchor of the subheadings. So let's go to the top of that document. This is the main link. And this is your support documentation. It's version 1 for the standard website hosting. It has tutorial videos in, such as this one, and you should have already watched the earlier two. And so if we scroll down or just select from the left menu, email accounts, it's very important that you read this information here. And you can always come back to this to revisit this video. And let's see what we have under this section for quick links. So we have our direct cPanel link. Again, every time I do a tutorial video and I hover over a link, you'll be able to see that link in the bottom corner of the browser. So you can see that's a shortened link. That's go.techie.io/cPanel. And if you do click on that, it's going to want you to log in with your cPanel credentials. Now your cPanel credentials will be in the information that you received when your account was set up, when you initially paid for it. And it should be in this email here that says new account information. You'll have a link and your password to the cPanel. So that's your direct cPanel link. Now we also have a direct webmail link. Now you don't need to, they're very easy to remember. Typically when we shorten a link, we use our techie shortener, which is go.techie.io, and then we try to keep it just to the simple name of the service that the link is taking you to. So this one is Webmail. So we click on this link, then we get a redirect, and we can log straight into our Webmail, bypassing the need to log in to the hosting account or the cPanel. So let's grab our password, well, our username and password, it was email demo. Email demo at demosite101.com, and then our password that we generated, I'll paste in here, and we log right in, straight into our inbox. So you can see it's really very easy. Granted, I talk a lot when I describe things in my videos, and they're a little long, but I try to cover everything you may need. So you can see it's very easy to log into your webmail. You can go to the documentation anytime. It's in the knowledge base under documentation, and you can see here's the simple link to get right to the email. Now there's another option as well, and that is to use the IP address associated with your hosting package, and then there's like a short code after it, or a port code. But there's no need to mess with this at all. Just use the easy links. And again, please read through this information regarding your email account. It's important. So to review, we've looked at how to go from finding the documentation. I'm going to log out and start from scratch. So let's say you're on your Techie homepage and you go to Support, Knowledge Base, and select under Categories, look for Documentation, and then select the standard website hosting documentation. If you want, you can just click the email accounts link, and it's the same file, it's the full documentation file, but it took you straight to the subcategory for email account setup and information. Okay, so that's where we find our documentation, and again we can log in to our customer area. Select our services, select our hosting package, log into it with the cPanel. If we use the webmail link, it's going to want us to log in like with our credentials, just like that separate link that I just showed you for webmail. You see, it wants you to log in. Because you can have multiple emails, it doesn't know which one you need to log into, so it can't give you a one-click login unless you selecting that from the cPanel. So again, from your client area and your standard hosting dashboard, we'll just do the left click the cPanel login. It's the one-click login. So we've seen how to, from the cPanel, scroll down to our email accounts, access the webmail through the check mail button, find out how to configure your devices by clicking this button. So we've got our credentials. You can scroll down at the bottom of most windows in cPanel to go back to the section you were in. And we can see we've got one available left on this plan because we've got a total of 5 available email accounts we can create. So if we go back to our cPanel dashboard, there's one thing you can see now on the right hand side of the screen. We can see that this is showing red. That's to let us know that we're getting close to the quota of email accounts that we can create. So again, if you have a larger business case where you need more email accounts or business grade email accounts, we highly recommend you let us know and we can set these up for you. The pricing is really very reasonable, and it's an excellent service. If you read through this in paragraph about autoresponders and malware and deliverability issues, that is a whole specialty in itself for email deliverability if you are doing any kind of marketing online. So please do contact support if you have any questions. That was our fairly lengthy run through, and we hope that helped you out. Thank you again for choosing Techie Hosting, and we hope to see you again real soon following these tutorial videos.